Okay, thanks for coming back for more, and let's have a look at Casino Royale from 1967. This is an unofficial James Bond movie in the same title from 2006, since this is a spoof movie. Spoof movie means fake, a joke.
Mr. Bond? Yes? I'm Lieutenant Mathis of the...
And now on to the actual intro. Okay? So the music composed in the movies by Burt Bacharach, who will come back to do this soundtrack for later James Bond movies in the 70s, and directed by John Huston, followed by 4 other directors, which you see on screen, okay? So 4 black cars are here to meet up each other, and comes out all 4 passengers, one of them being M, played by John Huston, one of the directors of this spoof movie. Pretty well-known director too, and we have made it here surrounded by lions, and we now meet Ransom, played by William Holden. So the cast is well known in this movie, majorly all-star cast if you know anything about older movies like I do. So more lions blocking the roadway as Smirnov, played by Kurt Kasner, is yelling, and this 4th guy, Legrand, played by Charles Boyer, and just drive off to this mansion, okay? And they are all here to meet up with James Bond himself here, played by David Niven, doing his exercises.
Original James Bond. My dear Bond, my dear M.
And now he meets M of MI6, Ransom of the CIA, Smirnov of the KGB, and Legrand of Le Bureau, or the office in French. So as you can tell, James Bond here is retired and is glad as M here misses having James Bond, and even points everyone and their fancy weapons inside their clothes. And now James Bond points out his black rose in his garden, and of course wanting him back for a mission since everything is falling apart without him, and are begging James Bond for his help. And now Bond is now getting to his, or Debussy. And now Bond is playing the piano and questioned why he's retired. And M presents Bond with the envelope of this royal mission. So M, as a way to make James Bond come back to the job, is to blow up his property. Now it's mission control full of girls, and now we see this behind the screen villain who we will know who later and knows James Bond is back on duty. As one of the girls keeping an eye on James Bond entering Scotland. Probably includes Scotland with Sean Connery's success as James Bond for sure, because he was still James Bond until 1967. And as bagpipe is being played, calls in for M, and it's to be called McTerry, a Scottish name. Same guy, 2 different kind of names. And tells the girl he's speaking to that, to an Agent Mimi, which is M's mistress, and Agent Mimi is posing as a Lady Fiona, whom Bond is going to see right now. Okay, for the mission. So we now meet Agent Mimi posing as Lady Fiona, played by Deborah Kerr, and is asking how M, or McTerry, got killed. He kind of let himself get killed there, that's his own fault, but you know, it's a spoof movie. And now asks about the Grey Piper, and just a bunch of girls listening around. So James Bond presents a chest with M's toupee, who we saw wearing earlier. And now M's toupee is taken, and even the slaughter of a sheep by 6 virgins, resulting in some of celebration or a funeral.
I'm Heather.
Now it's time for James Bond's bath. 2 of 11 of M's daughters are here to help him. And all daughters are between the ages of 16 to 19. So 2 now take Bond to his bath after being spied on too. Well, that's very weird.
I'm testing the temperature of the water. As I always do. You're as pink as a baby. Now, turn round.
Now back to the daughters speaking in French as Agent Mimi is having lunch. And Bond is there too, and Mimi points out someone in the painting on the wall as a history lesson. And they all pass out from bagpipe music and drinking whatever was in their cups. They're all passing out, including the bagpipe players, as he's now relaxing in his room. Walks in Agent Mimi again, who woke up already. She wants to be comforted and doodled, and now Bond has to pay the piper for that. And now announces that Bond will wassail. Wassail, since all the bagpipe players are also awake now, okay? And they are here to play ball with rock balls, and these guys are struggling to put Bond. But Bond catches the ball and throws it back, and Agent Mimi compliments Bond's skill of playing. Okay, as Agent Mimi has fallen in love with Bond and gets her room key and smashes the ball, and Mimi is impressed. Now all these daughters watching Bond enjoying his time on the field, and Mimi hears shooting and some goofy scenes, and the girls are ready to fire as well. So as Bond shoots the electric bird sent out by the girls, and Mimi comes out, yelling about a button and looks for the homing device on James Bond, and now launches this diamond toward the electric bird. Now Agent Mimi admits she and the daughters were assigned to torture the retired James Bond by the East Berlin mothers. Okay? So the diamonds are launched again to destroy the van, and now has this dramatic death scene which is all fake, and now wants a kiss from James Bond, and now runs over the hill. And now another update that James Bond has left Scotland. Pretty goofy movie so far, like I said. And now on the highway, as Bond's car gets harassed by this woman, whose name we don't know. I honestly don't know her name. And even this mission control operated milk truck already parked and follows Bond from the comfort of their chair. Great. And of course also there to attack James Bond. And a lot of destruction, and the girls are ready to attack, making it risky for the girl that harassed Bond's car, as James Bond has made it right on time. And now has made it back to MI6 headquarters, and we meet Moneypenny of this movie, played by Barbara Boucher.
You haven't changed a bit.
Actually, I'm Miss Moneypenny's daughter.
Oh, my mistake. Moneypenny Jr. has taken over Mom's job. And we also meet Hadley, played by Derek Nimmo, who is probably M's son, I think. M's only son. He just came out of M's office, right? He points out what has happened on the locations pointed out on the map. And he wonders who took his title of agent and 007 number, and asks why there are two flags on the Caribbean side of the map, and Jimmy Bond is there because of that. James Bond's nephew, who will come later, or actually right now. And now we meet Jimmy Bond himself, played by the filmmaker Woody Allen, who looks like he's about to be executed.
Wait! So long, suckers!
And Jimmy Bond makes his escape after throwing that explosive cigarette. Just like in You Only Live Twice, similar to that scene when Tiger Tanaka was there. Now back to MI6, as Bond here is tired of seeing female spies annoying him and wants AFSD, anti-female spy device, for this upcoming job, who we don't have any clear instructions yet. Like I said, it's a spoof movie, and it's pretty simple. Bond here wants to find someone who will take his place as an agent, whom all the women want, but to train him to not want women, okay? That'll be kind of hard, alright?
We find the one man all women want, and then we train him not to want women.
And now wants Moneypenny Jr. to look through the auxiliary files, and of course, wearing a nightie. And her night shift job includes inspecting these potential James Bond replacements who can have no interest in girls. And the first candidate failed the test and moving on, and her being a girl who cannot take this test seriously and will fall for the guy she finds attractive, great, and passes him for this inspection because of her infatuation to him.
I really have to note your qualifications.
Right. 6'2.5", 184 pounds.
But she takes advantage of this and tells James Bond the next day he is the so-called perfect fit for this job. This Cooper here, played by Terrence Cooper, who will continue her training, if you know what I mean, with Moneypenny Jr. And he has been assigned the title of James Bond 007 and is now surrounded by more girls. And Cooper here is enjoying this, but he's good at controlling it. and body slams her and on to the next girl and to the next girl. But this girl takes over and even body slams her next, thinking she was the superior to could lust him. But Cooper is doing well so far. And I was wrong, and Moneypenny Jr. did choose the right candidate for James Bond.
Them, you do.
So now inside this MI6 office area, and James Bond is there noticing a woman in pink. Her name is Vesper Lynd, played by Ursula Andress, who did come in the real James Bond movie Dr. No. Honey Rider, if you remember. And James Bond needs her help, and even bribes her with money. But Bond is referring to someone else to Vesper, which is the gambler of this movie. Evelyn Tremble, played by Peter Sellers.
Yes, that's right.
Isn't Evelyn a girl's name?
I thought it was a girl's name too, and she even mentions his book he wrote, and does not fall for the trap, and she gets to her car. So next scene, Vesper's at home and presents Evelyn Tremble inside, and is all part of the James Bond plan to get Tremble, okay? To make him do what he has to do.
Hello, Mr. Tremble. Can you hold on for a moment?
Now with this smooth song playing, as Evelyn looks around the house and sees a statue with a p*** out, I'll skip that. And Vesper is there waiting on the couch talking about the statue. Evelyn Tremble, the gambler, is offered by Vesper to sit next to him. Offers him a martini and asks questions about his book, and they finally kiss. And now inside his room for some Austin Powers-like fun, and now he's doing his exercises and records him too for James Bond and tries on many different costumes for fun, since Peter Sellers, like I said, is a comedic actor and is known for stuff like this.
Well, I'll show you my strawberry if you'll show me your apricot.
Author of a book and... Have you ever heard of...
And she records what Evelyn Tremble does as his profession. She records all this, okay? And now asks a question if Evelyn Tremble has heard of someone named Le Chiffre, who is a card player, since he is part of this villainous scheme for this movie. Again, unclear scheme. And back to asking about Le Chiffre. And the only way to win at cards is to have a stake of at least £100,000 and wants him to play against this Le Chiffre, okay? And Evelyn doesn't want to and even offers him the money. And like I said, will be playing as James Bond, one of the many fake James Bonds of the movie, and is now at James Bond training camp for the card playing scheme. And we will meet Q, played by Jeffrey Belden. And Evelyn Tremble, noticing an elf following him, who is really a security guard.
Yes, we're still working on that one.
So this place kind of looks like the summary of all of the Q scenes from Dr. No to You Only Live Twice, which was still a new movie like this in 1967. And now we meet Fordyce here and asks Evelyn to sign with a possible poisonous pen to try out the pen, okay? And Q gives Evelyn an exact replica of his Rolex watch with gadget features and tells Fordyce to change the station to channel 6 on Evelyn's new watch. Yeah, you can see Vesper in her room and even makes him try on this new protective clothing on, which is a little tight, of course. And with all the other attachment-like weapons are included, as James Bond is listening to his conversation with Agent Mimi from earlier. Alright, so M. Jr. or Hadley tells James Bond that he has involved himself in a SMERSH scheme, which is the parody of Spectre, if you know anything about James Bond, okay? So Hadley tells him that SMERSH's scheme of supplying babysitters and au pair girls are supplied to royal families, and Bond suggests that Mata Hari's daughter, Mata Bond, should be infiltrating this for now. So James Bond travels to the jungle to locate Mata Bond, and he does by going here inside this temple, and we even see one of the guards who will appear in Spy Who Loved Me later in the 70s. Sandor, I think is his name, the henchman. So Bond is now in and sees the opening presentation, and we finally meet Mata Bond, played by Joanna Patet.
I am Sir James Bond.
Daddy.
My child.
And finishes her dancing, and Bond didn't like it and introduces himself to her. You can easily guess by her last name, Mata Bond is James Bond's actual daughter, right? Now inside her room, as Mata Bond mentions James dumped her at an orphanage, and even his monthly checks that he sends to her, himself, right? And James Bond, being James Bond, is of course being hit on by his own daughter. Ew.
You know, if you weren't my dad, I think I could fancy you.
And wants to send her off for the infiltration as a spy, as he mentioned earlier. So back in England, Mata Bond is here with M. Jr. or Hadley. Here, as mentioned by James Bond, that she needs to go to Berlin for that. And now has made it to Berlin. You know, the fakest looking Berlin you can see with this border wall, with the barbed wire on top. Obviously by taxi, and of course it doesn't pay, and the taxi driver is hungry. So Mata Bond has made it here and looks around everywhere and just sees a bunch of paintings.
I am the daughter of Mata Hari.
Mata Hari!
You are a liar.
And now it's caught by these two recruiters, one of them being Frau Hoffner, played by Anna Quayle. And Mata Bond tells them she's Mata Hari's daughter, hence the picture of Mata Hari on the wall from the previous scene. So the assistant Polo, played by Ronnie Corbett, is excited to see Mata Bond. And these guys are here to train spies and bring Mata Bond here to show off the school. Even mentioned Peter Lorre and Bela Lugosi have graduated from here, two famous horror movie actors from the 40s. And even showed the inside of the training camp session, all in red, and even a self-defense class, which you can tell was pre-recorded for this movie. And we're also at the halfway point of the movie, finally, and Polo will continue the tour and now takes her to her mother's room, Mata Hari, and now asks Polo about a conference which is managed by Le Chiffre, who we haven't met yet, okay? And that Le Chiffre needs money to sell off his art pieces because he gambles a lot, of course, operated by SMERSH. So he needs money because he gambles most of the money away, and the only way for him to get that money back is to have an art auction, which you will see soon. It even mentioned that Le Chiffre will get liquidated if those gambling debts are not paid off, okay? So don't gamble too much. Polo leaves after embarrassing himself and even now goes inside the interior of the mansion, and we even see Kronstein again from Russia with Love, played by Vladek Shebal. His name is not Kronstein in the movie. He's known as Le Chiffre's representative once again, but he has no actual name in the movie. But he turns on this remote control, and Mata finds her mom's lover dead on a chair, as Frau Hoffner tells her that, okay? So, yeah, that's pretty creepy. So now the two have to be at an auction, of course, organized by Kronstein.
Are there any specific bidding instructions?
Le Chiffre's art has to be auctioned for him to raise money, and even 4 army groups are present there. The French, the Americans, the Chinese, and I forget the other group. I think they're Cubans. I don't know. And the first picture is up, which I won't show, and all of the guys are placing their bids on this nasty painting. And the taxi driver is back too to warn Mata Bond to not let Le Chiffre raise that money, since he reveals himself that he is known as Towers of the Foreign Office, or FO, played by Bernard Cribbins, to not help Le Chiffre, okay? And Mata Bond invades the auction and changes the picture slideshow. As Mata runs, she bumps into Polo again and thinks she wants to shag, but he activates his bomb, and everyone knows Mata Bond has the auction of films of Le Chiffre's art. So Mata Bond just kicks her way out of the mansion by attacking all the guards. And even the taxi driver comes in to help her, Towers of FO. And the two escape as Kronstein comes out shooting. So Kronstein here now goes into the phone booth to call up Le Chiffre, here played by the famous filmmaker Orson Welles himself. So far we had three well-known directors already in the movie shown. I think Orson Welles could have been the 6th person who could have directed this movie. Kronstein tells him that Dr. Noah knows everything and tells him that money should be raised either way by playing Baccarat, okay? So obviously the auction was a fail. He can't raise any money from his art. And of course, killed by SMERSH's operative, Le Chiffre, just like in From Russia with Love with Spectre, okay? Kronstein dead by Blofeld, who is part of Spectre, alright? So the plane has been landed for Evelyn Tremble for the job he has to do in France. So Evelyn Tremble, or James Bond, the fake James Bond, meets up with this Inspector Mattis, played by Duncan McRae, who will take him to Le Chiffre at the Casino Royale for the gambling session with him, as you see these girls washing the car first, in the weirdest way possible. Then again, it's the 1960s, weirdness was pretty common back then. So James Bond has been known that Evelyn Tremble assaulted the customs officer under his name. Probably the blame went to the real James Bond here, and now contacts his daughter Mata Bond. And calls in Vesper again, right before her bath, and tells her to find out if Evelyn Tremble could be a secret agent or not, okay? And now Tremble has made it here and meets up with Miss Goodthighs, played by Jacqueline Bisset. So she tipped the porter to let her inside the Tremble hotel room. You can tell this is all a trap set up by Le Chiffre as the two drop something in each other's drinks, alright? Or Dr. Noah. And now drinks the infected drink and has to go take a bath and just dreams about Vesper.
You were drugged.
Yes, I know I was drugged. I put the antidote pill.
So Vesper found Evelyn, drugged, and tells him Goodthighs, dropped something in his drink and drugged him. And he dropped the purple antidote pill in the wrong glass. Of course, what's his name? Evelyn Tremble put in the antidote pill in his own drink. Of course, he's going to get drugged, put in the wrong. And she took care of Goodthighs, Vesper did, as she turns on the shower for Evelyn to get ready. And we see Le Chiffre ready to gamble on the casino floor, and he wants a girl to look at him into his eyes. And wants everyone to put their hands on the baccarat table as it rises and stops, and sees that there is a dead body underneath. Or at least I think it is. And it walks in Evelyn and Vesper to put in the money for the bet, and the front desk guy is impressed after hearing his name is James Bond, and even asks for his autograph. And Evelyn Tremble is staring at that gambling floor like it's candy to him, okay? And Matisse tells the casino manager that James Bond is here. And notices all of the tigers in the office, and even Vesper points at Le Chiffre gambling, and he's winning after Evelyn Tremble notices Le Chiffre's glasses. And Evelyn Tremble has his own pair of glasses and sees he's wearing infrared glasses. That's how he's treated. He can see right through the cards, okay? But Vesper tells him if Evelyn wins against Le Chiffre, SMERSH will kill Le Chiffre as long as he wins, because Le Chiffre cheats a lot, okay? Sort of like Goldfinger. He has a girl looking at the opponent's cards, and he has like an earpiece being communicated all the what's on the opponent's card, okay? And Vesper believes in him. Yeah, right. So now time to play baccarat, as Le Chiffre is shocked here that the name James Bond is familiar to him, and now he plays against him, and Vesper swiping Le Chiffre's infrared glasses, and Evelyn speaking in an Indian accent, thinking Le Chiffre would understand, and tells Le Chiffre he will use the Evelyn Tremble method and speaks in a Chinese accent now to make the game more enjoyable, and even doubling his bets. And Le Chiffre wins this round without his infrared glasses, but he has no chips, but still doubles it. What's his name? Evelyn Tremble. And Evelyn Tremble wins it all back, and Le Chiffre is super pissed off, and that people that do gamble by cheating, they'll kill the winner to get it all back sooner or later. So Le Chiffre is doing exactly what, like I said, Goldfinger is doing from 1964, except no girl's helping him out.
You're a French police officer, and yet you have a Scots accent. Ah.
The casino manager will have Evelyn's money ready in the check soon. And so out on the casino floor again with Inspector Mattis again. And Evelyn Tremble notices Mattis has a Scottish accent and not a French accent, since he is posing as a French inspector. Like Inspector Clouseau. As I mentioned, Le Chiffre is one of those sore losers and has Vesper kidnapped. As she walks out of the Casino Royale, comes out Evelyn Tremble, as the doorman describes the kidnapping of Vesper well. Now dresses as a race car driver and fools this guy and drives off in the Lotus Formula 3 as Le Chiffre is enjoying this technical lair. Looking at Evelyn Tremble is already kidnapped, and Le Chiffre is of course wanting that money back, since he lost it for SMERSH. That money that he lost belongs to SMERSH.
You mean you're gonna torture me?
Persuade you, Mr. Bond, persuade you.
Of course, you're not going to do anything about it. You're obese. And he's going to mind torture Evelyn Tremble. And we see all of these weird neon effects and even attempts at James Bond by presenting all these girls to cough up that money back. And now here's bagpipe music trapped inside his cage only to see he's back in historical times, which is all part of the mind torture act. Le Chiffre's just loving this, and we even see the scene. One of the musicians, the bagpipe players, is Peter O'Toole, the actor.
Excuse me. Are you Richard Burton?
No, I'm Peter O'Toole.
And it's Vesper again and kills all of Le Chiffre's guards, and maybe including Peter O'Toole. And now Le Chiffre is so pissed off that even James Bond's guys have made it and kills Le Chiffre. So back in England, as James Bond is driving around with his daughter and have made it here, and now she walks past these guys who have been keeping an eye on Bond's daughter. Maybe for what she did in Berlin for sure. And now she gets herself kidnapped. Don't worry, the movie's almost done.
I bet Mummy would have taken me in.
Mummy took everyone in.
Now an alien spaceship is now being landed in the middle of the park, and Mata Bond gets taken into it as James Bond walks in and tells Moneypenny Jr. here that Mata Bond is kidnapped, okay? Now walks in Agent Mimi again from the McTerry mansion as a nun asking for a donation. Seriously, when is this movie over? This is getting a little too much. And now in this oceanside, as little pod comes out of the alien spaceship and comes out Mata, as we hear this voice speaking that she's a prisoner of SMERSH. So a lot has happened in this movie. It's just a goofy movie for an all-star cast to be part of, because they all like James Bond for sure. Back at the Casino Royale, which is a SMERSH convention in reality, as Bond and Moneypenny Jr. are present, with his waiter telling Bond that Mr. Le Directeur wishes to see him. And now goofy fighting, and now inside this secret part of the Casino Royale, as Bond mentions that Dr. Noah is the real SMERSH leader, okay? So dodging all of the guards, the two have made it inside the funhouse portion of the Casino Royale. And here's Dr. Noah's voice, and now way out but still trapped, and take a 360-degree turn around, and finally inside Dr. Noah's lair. You can easily tell Dr. Noah is a parody of Dr. No from the actual movie from 1962, who is practically the main member of Spectre, Dr. No. It all started with Dr. No, okay? With the movie, not the novel. The novels are a completely different order.
The day SMERSH finally eliminated the original James Bond. His work.
And presents this James Bond double, while the real James Bond grabs the gun and shoots the double, and at Dr. Noah's glass protection. And what do you know? Jimmy Bond was Dr. Noah the entire time and the leader of SMERSH, betrayed by your own nephew. And he can't speak since he worships heroes too much, and even has this invisible glass wall placed in between him and his uncle, okay?
So that's your plan, huh? A world full of beautiful women and all men shorter than yourself.
And present Dr. Noah's Basilius with a plan to make every girl attractive and hot, and all guys shorter than him, since Jimmy Bond is like 5 feet tall or something. I don't know how tall Woody Allen is, probably like 5'1". And comes out the women guards with guns, okay? I guess you call this incel behavior, like on the internet, but I don't know how to describe this. And now Jimmy Bond goes down to see a girl he's got tied up, and now speaks, and she was the same girl, and asks her if she finds him dangerous, and she makes fun of Jimmy Bond, of course, just because, the real James Bond has it all.
Do I appear menacing to you at all? What are you laughing at?
Now plays the piano. You can call Jimmy Bond here an incel or a simp, like on the internet today, as he exhibits this kind of behavior, okay? And does things that James Bond probably can't do, and even mentions Einstein as someone that he resembles in behavior, but so Einstein and Jimmy Bond, two different people. You cannot even compare the two. And now Jimmy Bond presents this aspirin-like drug for his master plan to get rid of world leaders and have his body doubles in place to take over the earth. And now offers this girl from the Casino Royale to become his co-ruler, and she pretentiously agrees as she wants her dress back and takes the aspirin-like drug with her.
Turn yourself like a nice fool while I slip this on.
Yes, Yes, I'll wait over here. Body.
So we now see Mata, Bond, Moneypenny Jr., and Cooper again after all this time standing on each other to place this bomb to open up the Dr. Noah lair. Now inside Jimmy Bond's private plane as we now meet his body double, including the girl's double, and also the world leaders unconscious with their body double underway, and this butler now brings out the drinks.
To your future.
I'll drink to that.
You just swallowed it.
You're lying.
And more to the scheme where all men are created equal, which is all part of Jimmy Bond's plan, and that all men can get any kind of girl, doesn't matter what he looks like. So relatable to today's internet world, honestly. I don't know. This kind of thinking has been around forever. And all the benefits of the world as she finally spills in the pill, shaped like an aspirin inside Jimmy Bond's drink. And Jimmy Bond has swallowed the aspirin-like pill. Meanwhile, James Bond and the three are almost done and have blown up the vault-like entrance to Jimmy Bond's lair. While Jimmy Bond finds an antidote, Bond and the others have made it in here, and all the guards shooting. Made it inside here and joins in the girl and asks Frankenstein for directions to the office. And drive out from shooting and back inside the Casino Royale back room. And now back out and tells the front desk that the Casino Royale might blow up any time, and guess who's back?
Too bad you won't get it, Sir James. I went through a lot of trouble to...
So Vesper is back. All she wanted was money for all this, and why do you think she was being nice to Evelyn Tremble, right? And here comes the American aide, which are all cowboys. Looks like a scene taken from a Hollywood Western, and now some goofy fighting, and even this girl activating the laughing gas under the poker table. And we see this goofy nonsense for the next 4 minutes or so as Jimmy Bond hiccups his way up, and we just see this war zone-like sequence with the natives present too now. And we even meet George Raft, the actor, just watching it all. If you've seen old Hollywood movies, he's in there. And Ransom is back too. And even this French soldier played by the French actor Jean-Paul Belmondo has finally made his appearance in the movie and joining in all the fun. And he did die in 2021, same age as Elaine Delons, who died last year. What a coincidence. And with Jimmy Bond hiccuping everywhere, just blows everyone up. Now they're in hell.
The French have arrived.
Welcome in the gal at Casino Royale.
And that's it. Casino Royale from 1967, the James Bond spoof movie. Super goofy, and it's a one-time watch in my opinion. Never watch it again after the first 2 times. Okay, that's it for me. The video is super long, and I'll see you next time in the first Indiana Jones movie with Harrison Ford. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Check out Casino Royale from 1967. You probably won't like it, that's okay. It's an old movie, 1960s. Take care, see you soon, and watch away. I'll see you later in the next episode. Take care.
Oh, he's a lover when